All right.
Coach, I haven't talked to you since the spring game. Obviously, what's your thoughts a couple days after reviewing the tape and everything?
Well, I mean, kind of what I thought I saw live and in person was very good. It was very competitive. Obviously we've got some young players, and to split the team like that, outside of a couple of turnovers, it was a really competitive game, especially up front. And that's really what I was most interested in, was how we were going to hold up front. Would it look like big boy football? And I thought that they did a really nice job. They were ready. A lot of those guys were ready for the moment, and a bunch of them had their best day. So it was encouraging from that standpoint. Again, I thought the guys competed well, and we were able to create the game feel that a lot of those guys needed. And as I'm in my exit meetings right now talking to all of them, that's been a part of the conversation with a lot of those young guys, and that's a big deal for them, the confidence coming out of it. So we're in a good place, and we're pretty healthy coming out of spring. Obviously Amari was a big injury for us, but Niles and Jordan didn't go through, but they're doing well. And so everybody's excited about what we've got to do. We're in our last, we've got a couple more weeks of training. Practice is over, but our mandatory lifting and training, so we've got a couple more weeks of that. And then they'll hit their discretionary time. They'll have finals. Guys will be kind of all over the place, either home or micro internships or mission trip to Thailand, whatever it is. So, and then we'll crank it back up and get on with it.
Over the past decade, with having these interactions with these people one-on-one, how has it sort of developed as the program's gone along, just these one-on-ones with these people?
It's great. I mean, it's grown. They've gotten bigger, and which is fun. And we don't get to sign as much as we used to, because we're trying to meet as many people as we possibly can. And so as the crowds have grown, we just kind of take pictures. So it's neat to get a chance to just talk. I love it. I get a chance to hear everybody's Clemson story, or their Natty story, or whatever it may be. And then it's fun for me too, now having just finished my 10th year as the head coach, and being on the road. People that I've been seeing for 10 years, you just get to know them. And everybody has their own flavor of how they do the prowling growl, and then some of the kids that I saw young, now they're grown up. So it's neat. People like to show me pictures that we took 7, 8 years ago, and it's always fun. And this one especially, Charleston does a great job. There's always a lot of energy here, and a fun crowd.
You mentioned the one-on-one meetings you're having with the players now. You've got so much depth now. Do you feel like you're going to keep everybody? Are you worried about any transfers from those meetings?
No, not to this point. I mean, now this is we had 104 guys go through spring training, so I'm probably maybe halfway through. So I got a long way to go. And they're great. They're great meetings, very necessary. But no, I don't anticipate anything like that. But you never know. But not yet.
With sort of the offseason and the hype that Trevor's gotten, what have you sort of seen from him in terms of just all this national attention and how he's sort of responded to it?
He's just continuing to stay focused on his priorities, the things that are important to him. He's got a great perspective. He gets it. He's not to the extent that he is now, but he's kind of been in the limelight for a while as a national prospect and things like that, and he's been on a lot of big stages at that level, and then coming up to Clemson, and has prepared him well. But it's a different world for him, and I think in fact I just met with Trevor today. That's one of the things we talked a good bit about him, as far as how he manages his time and just embraces his platform and uses it in the right way, but also keeping the perspective and understanding that you got to say no sometimes, even though it may hurt somebody's feelings. I mean, he has a class schedule. He has to be, and everybody wants a picture, and it's just one more picture. It's just one more this. So he's learning and growing in that part of his life because that's not going to go away. That's going to be there for a long time. So he's got a good head on his shoulders. He's got a good circle of people around him. His family is awesome, and just a very humble young man. So he's fine.
You've talked about one of the big things you wanted to accomplish was replacing the leadership.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the leadership coming out of the spring?
Yeah, I feel really good about it, and even more so in the meetings that I've already had with some of those guys. I mean, I'm really encouraged. We don't have the depth across. It's not as big a group, but man, we've got some big-time quality leadership. And obviously we've got more veterans on the offensive side this year than the defensive side, but man, I love what we have. I mean, Tanner Muse, Kayvon, AJ, Skowski, Isaiah, these are guys that are about their business. And, and you got those 4 seniors up front, that I think, John Simpson, Ankrum, Pollard, Cervinka, they have the ability to cross over and lead. And I think that's one of the unique things that this team has is we're going to have some good crossover leadership. Trevor and Chase, both those guys are really natural leaders. I think T has taken pride in his role. Same with Amari. So we've got not the depth, but the quality is really, really good.
One of your former players, Adam Humphries, just signed a big deal with Tennessee. What does it mean for you to see those guys? He might not have the big marquee name like a Deshaun or a DeAndre, but be able to get those contacts and really show that you guys are having all levels there.
Well, it's awesome to be able to see a young man like Adam that came to your program and just worked. And when he came to our program, the story on him was, he wasn't a very good player, and we were signing him to get another guy and all that stuff. And sometimes it's hard to change those rhetorics. But he just went to work and had an unbelievable career for us, a great player, and then doesn't get drafted, doesn't get to go to the combine, and he just goes and he just kind of does the same thing. He just grows on you, and when you realize what a good football player he is when he puts on the pads and steps in between the lines. And I think a guy like Adam has helped a guy like Humphries. Renfro. I think Renfro, on his own merit, I think he's probably going to be drafted, and the success of Adam helps him because Adam had a pretty good career too, and had better measurables than Renfro, to be honest with you. But but I think that success and the credibility as far as the type of player he is, the tools that he took into the league, how prepared he was, and then he's been lucky too. That league is. I've had several guys that could have had better careers, but injuries, timing, fit, all that stuff. But he got in the right situation. He took advantage of it. He stayed healthy, and so it's awesome. I mean, he was making like $9 million a year, and not bad for an undrafted guy. And he's one that you take a lot of pride in because I don't think a lot of people expected him to do what he's doing outside of a few people.
Gentlemen, sorry, this will be the last one. Then we got to get him going. We're about to open the doors.
It's not a football question, really, but I met a family the other day who they love you as a coach, but they also love how you treat your men and turn them into good men, and the role model that you are. So they told me that they named their son Dabo. I want to know what your
They named their son? Yeah. All right, I need some proof of that because that would be the first human being. That means I've officially arrived in life because no one is. I've never met another human. I got birds, dogs, snakes, cats, horse, lizards that are all named Dabo. But I've always said, all right, if another human gets named Dabo, then all right, I've officially made it to the big time. But if that's true, that would be amazing. That would be amazing, and I hope to meet him one day.
Thanks, Dabo.
Is that true?